I'm Kira Carter, 35, raising my 12-year-old son Noah alone in our cozy Portland apartment. Rain-soaked streets and towering evergreens feel like home here. My world revolves around Noah, those curious eyes and passion for marine biology mirror his father James so perfectly it sometimes takes my breath away. I juggle part-time photography, capturing raw family moments and Oregon's wild beauty, with my school administrative job that keeps our lights on life-shattered 6 years ago when James, my Coast Guard hero, died saving strangers off Oregon's treacherous coast. Noah was barely 6. I've mastered stretching every dollar, finding magic in simple moments like Noah's pure joy when we spot harbor seals during our beach adventures. But absolutely nothing prepared me for the phone call that destroyed everything I thought I knew about family. That crisp Saturday morning smelled of pine and endless possibilities. Noah exploded into our tiny kitchen, sneakers flying loose, buzzing about mountain biking with his best friend Liam through Forest Park's winding trails. Mom. Liam's dad is driving us to the epic trails. Can I go? He begged, already demolishing his toast. I looked up from my steaming coffee, smiling at his infectious excitement. Helmet and phone, our usual safety ritual. He rolled his eyes dramatically. I'm not 5 anymore, Mom. I ruffled his sandy hair, dodging his playful swat. Humor your paranoid mother. Back by 4 for science project shopping. Deal. He grinned. Pedaling away with his crew, waving back as I watched from our window. That was our last normal moment at exactly 11:18 a.m., my phone screamed. Unknown number. A woman's voice, calm but urgent, asked if I was Noah Carter's mother. My heart stopped completely as she explained, a car had jumped the bike trail, striking Noah directly. Critical condition. Racing to Portland General Hospital, the world tilted sideways. I don't remember grabbing keys or driving, only sprinting through those sliding hospital doors, gasping Noah's name to the receptionist. He's in emergency surgery, she said gently. Someone will update you immediately. The surgical liaison found me in a quiet room, her steady eyes anchoring me as she detailed Noah's devastating injuries: severe head trauma, shattered femur, broken ribs, internal bleeding. The neurosurgeon was fighting to reduce brain swelling. But the next 24 hours would determine everything. Will my son die? I whispered, my voice unrecognizable. She didn't sugarcoat reality. He's young and healthy, that's crucial. But this is extremely serious. I called my father Robert. Barely coherent through tears. He promised to come immediately, then I collapsed in that waiting room, surrounded by other terrified families, my universe shrinking to one desperate thought: Noah must survive. That Noah's surgery stretched 6 agonizing hours. I paced those hospital corridors until my sneakers squeaked against linoleum, whispering frantic prayers to any universe that might listen. Every distant monitor beep sent my heart racing, wondering if it carried news about my son. When the surgeon finally emerged, his expression was grave but steady. We've stopped Noah's brain bleeding, he announced, but significant swelling remains. He's in a medically induced coma, giving his brain time to heal. He prepared me for the ICU's harsh reality: tubes, bandages, machines keeping my boy alive. The next 48 hours are absolutely critical. We're doing everything possible. Seeing Noah nearly broke me completely. My vibrant boy who'd been chasing waves and sketching marine life just hours ago lay motionless, head wrapped in bandages, a ventilator breathing for him. His face was swollen, bruised, unrecognizable. I sank into the bedside chair, taking his hand carefully, mindful of 4 lines. Nurse Rachel encouraged me to talk to him. He might hear everything, even now. So I talked, voice shaking as I described the marine biology camp we'd planned for summer, remembering him dressed as a scuba diver for Halloween, perfectly mimicking his dad. I promised aquarium visits when he woke up. I kept talking, terrified. Silence might let him slip away forever. Dad arrived that evening, his hug unleashing a flood of tears. You're not facing this alone, Kira, he whispered, voice thick with emotion. He stayed until nightfall, but Mom Linda didn't come. She's managing a major charity event, Dad explained apologetically. She's praying for Noah constantly. I nodded. Too drained to process her absence's sting that first night, I refused to leave Noah's side, curling up in the recliner with a thin hospital blanket. The ICU staff became my lifeline, Rachel explaining medical terminology, bringing coffee, gently nudging me to eat. I couldn't imagine stepping away, terrified Noah might wake up scared or take a devastating turn without me there. Growing up in Seattle, I lived under my mother Linda's crushing expectations. Our modern waterfront home showcased her real estate success, but inside it was a pressure cooker. Linda demanded absolute perfection, perfect grades, perfect manners, perfect appearances. My younger sister Claire was her golden child, straight A's, debate team captain, polished charm that won everyone over. I wasn't failing, decent grades. Soccer team, no trouble, but to Linda, I was never enough. Why can't you be more like Claire, became her constant refrain. If Claire aced a test, my B+ was failure. If she won debate trophies, my game-winning goals were ignored. Dad Robert, a quiet engineer, tried softening Linda's criticism. She just wants your best, he'd say, but his words couldn't heal the damage. By high school, I stopped chasing her impossible standards. Photography became my escape, capturing authentic life moments that felt real, not staged. Volunteering at the animal shelter gave me comfort, wagging tails and purring cats who didn't judge me. These passions built self-worth Linda couldn't touch. Though her disapproval never faded, I carried that weight constantly, always hoping for acceptance but never quite reaching it. In college, I met James, a Coast Guard cadet with a warm smile and unshakable heart. He saw me not as Linda's flawed daughter, but as Kira, the woman who loved capturing sunsets and laughing at her own terrible puns. He valued my photography, my quirks, my dreams. For the first time ever, I felt truly seen when I announced our engagement at 22. Linda exploded. A Coast Guard boy? You're destroying your future, she raged, dismissing James's heroic service. I pushed forward anyway, marrying him in a small Portland ceremony. Linda attended, her smile tight, criticizing the venue and my simple dress. Dad slipped me a check, whispering, "I'm incredibly proud of you." Noah arrived a year later, a perfect blend of James's adventurous spirit and my green eyes. Even Linda softened around him, though her constant parenting suggestions grated endlessly. Too much screen time, not enough structure. James deployed twice, and I leaned on my parents during those difficult stretches. But Linda's support came with relentless criticism of my parenting, my part-time photography, my MSc life. Then at 29, my world completely shattered. 2 officers at my door, a folded flag, and devastating news that James had died in a rescue mission off Oregon's coast. Noah, just 5, couldn't understand why Daddy wasn't coming home. Grief swallowed me whole, but I had to stay strong for my son, building our new life in a smaller apartment, working full-time, keeping James's memory alive. Linda's response to James's death was tightening her control. Move back to Seattle, she urged constantly, as if I couldn't raise Noah alone. When I refused, she found other ways to manipulate me. She'd buy Noah lavish gifts I couldn't match, then remind him, "Mommy can't afford these, but Grandma can." She'd schedule outings that clashed with my time with him, painting me as the villain. When I objected, meanwhile, Claire's life sparkled endlessly. Married to a tech executive, raising twin boys in a sleek Seattle home. Family gatherings became Linda's stage to contrast our lives. "Claire's boys are already coding apps," she'd announce. "Is Noah still struggling with basic fractions?" Still. I kept peace for Noah's sake. He loved his cousins, and sometimes when Linda wasn't critiquing me, we had moments that felt like real family. Dad remained my quiet supporter, calling to check in, slipping me encouraging notes. Noah and I built our own beautiful world in Portland, Forest Park hikes, science club where he geeked out over marine life, and plans for that epic Monterey Bay aquarium trip. We were finding our footing, healing from James's loss, when Noah's accident turned everything upside down. As I sat in that hospital clutching his hand, I didn't know the worst test was coming, not from doctors, but from my own mother. 3 days into Noah's coma, I was completely destroyed. Sleepless, barely eating, living for every monitor beep. The nurses, especially Rachel, were my anchors, explaining scans, urging me to rest. Liam's parents dropped off clothes, my coworkers sent meals I couldn't stomach. James's parents called from California, ready to fly up. But I asked them to wait for clearer news. Noah's condition held steady with small hopeful signs, stable brain pressure, better oxygen levels, but he still hadn't awakened. On the third afternoon, Rachel insisted I take a 20-minute break to shower. I'll stay with him, she promised. Reluctantly, I agreed, grabbing fresh clothes. As I stepped out, my phone rang. Linda. After days of silence, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe she'd finally grasped Noah's condition's gravity. Kira, she said, voice clipped. I need you in Seattle tomorrow by 2 to help with Claire's birthday party. I froze, the hospital hallway spinning. Mom, Noah's in critical condition. I can't leave him. Her tone sharpened. The doctors are handling it. Claire's been planning this for months. If you don't come, I'll cut off Noah's college fund. My son was fighting for his life, and she was discussing a party. Rage surged, replacing fear. Noah might not survive, Mom. I'm not leaving him for Claire's birthday. Her voice turned icy. Family loyalty works both ways, Kira. If you don't show up, don't expect our support. Something snapped. 35 years of her control, criticism, and conditions crystallized in that moment. I choose Noah, I said, my voice calm but unshakable. Goodbye. I hung up, deleted her number, and walked back to Noah's side, strange peace settling over me despite the chaos. Back in Noah's room, I sat by his bed, the weight of cutting ties with Linda mixing with constant fear for my son. Rachel noticed my shaken expression. Everything okay? She asked. Not really, I admitted. But I'm here for Noah. The monitors beeped steadily, reminding me of his fragile state. Doubt crept in as I replayed Linda's threat. Noah's college fund was a safety net I couldn't easily replace on my salary. Would my decision hurt him long-term? But then I remembered a moment from years ago, Noah, age 7, coming home from a day with Linda, asking, Mom, are we poor? Grandma says we'd have a big house if you'd married someone richer. That memory burned. Linda had used her wealth to make Noah question our life, to undermine James's sacrifice. I'd reassured him then, telling him our love and home were enough. Now, holding his hand, I whispered, I did the right thing, buddy. I'm not leaving you. Later, Dad called hesitantly. Linda told me about your fight. She says you're being disrespectful. I explained her ultimatum, voice steady despite exhaustion. Dad, Noah hasn't opened his eyes in 3 days, and she's worried about Claire's party? He sighed. She doesn't handle crises well, Kira. She's scared. That's no excuse, I replied. I love you, but I can't keep doing this. He promised to visit, but I felt the distance growing, my focus narrowing to Noah alone. The next morning, hope flickered. Dr. Nguyen, Noah's neurologist, shared that his latest scans showed reduced brain swelling, a cautious step forward. We're lowering his sedation today, she said. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I clung to her words, watching Noah for any awakening sign. Then my phone buzzed. Claire's text, Mom says you're skipping my party. Noah's sick, but it's just a few hours. Send a gift at least. I stared, stunned. Just sick? My son was in a coma, and she wanted a gift. More texts followed from relatives, all focused on the party, none asking about Noah. Their priorities cut deeper than Linda's threat. By evening, as I helped the physical therapist move Noah's legs, a miracle happened. His fingers twitched in mine. Rachel, did you see that? I gasped. She checked monitors, confirming increased brain activity. Noah, it's Mom, I whispered. His eyelids fluttered, then opened briefly, unfocused but real. Tears streamed down my face as Dr. Nguyen rushed in, confirming Noah was emerging from the coma. It's gradual, she cautioned, but the hope was overwhelming. Claire's party was happening miles away in Seattle, but I was exactly where I needed to be. Choosing Noah over family drama felt like breaking free from lifetime chains. Noah's recovery gained incredible momentum. By morning, he was awake for longer stretches, responding to simple commands. Dr. Nguyen removed the ventilator, and Noah's raspy water was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. He was weak, his memory foggy, but he was back. I was helping him sip water when Linda and Claire stormed into the room unannounced. "We've been trying to reach you," Linda said, tone sharp. "Claire's birthday was ruined because of you." Noah's eyes darted between us, confused. "I turned my phone off when Noah woke up," I said calmly. "Let's talk outside." In the hallway, Linda unleashed her fury. "Your absence embarrassed us completely. You could have come for 1 hour." Claire chimed in, "We rescheduled the photographer because you weren't there for the family portrait." I stared, incredulous. "Noah nearly died, and you're upset about a photo?" My voice stayed steady, fueled by newfound strength. "I was here when Noah opened his eyes. That's where I belonged." Linda scoffed. "The doctors didn't need you hovering." I stepped closer. "I am his mother. I decide what he needs. You can see him for 5 minutes, one at a time, and only if you are supportive." Linda bristled but agreed, her grandmotherly mask slipping on as she entered. I watched closely, ensuring Noah's peace came first. Over the next year, Noah's recovery became our entire world. He tackled physical therapy with grit that reminded me of James, taking first steps with a walker, then mastering short walks. His memory lapses and headaches were setbacks, but his spirit shone through, cracking jokes with Liam, sketching fish again. My coworkers cleaned our apartment. James's parents stayed for weeks, their love a steady anchor. I took on freelance photography, shooting local events to rebuild our savings after Linda cut us off. She followed through, removing us from their will and trust. Dad called, regretful but loyal to her. "I had no choice, Kira." I told him, meaning it completely. Claire sent Noah gifts, tentative steps toward reconciliation, but Linda's visits were performative, laced with subtle jabs at my choices. I held firm, limiting their access to protect Noah's recovery to be his 13th birthday. We celebrated in our tiny apartment with Liam's family, my coworkers, and a video call from James's parents. Dad stopped by briefly, his gifts neutral, his presence cautious. Later on our balcony, Noah asked, "Will we ever be close with Grandma again?" I paused, choosing my words carefully. "Sometimes love means setting boundaries, buddy. Grandma's way hurts more than it helps." He nodded, wise beyond his years. "You stayed with me, Mom. That's what matters." He was absolutely right. Choosing Noah broke a cycle of guilt and control that had defined my entire life. We'd lost financial security but gained something infinitely richer, freedom to live authentically, surrounded by people who showed up without strings attached. Noah's accident tested us, but it also revealed our true strength. We were enough, just as we were. Closing message to everyone who's walked this journey with us, thank you. You've seen our fears, our fight, and our fresh start. If our story stirred something in you, hit subscribe and join us. Every challenge we face builds a stronger, truer family.